It is May 24th, and you are listening to It Came From GenX. Hello, everybody. My name is Keith Porter, alongside my co-host, Michael, the man Skinner, and Fish, the other man. And what's going on, boy?
Hey, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you. How you doing, Fish?
Doing well, man. Beautiful weekend, great weather, great times with family and loved ones. So all is
America
well.
needs it, right?
That's right.
I think America's going to have more cookouts, more get-togethers this summer than probably in history. We just need it. I'm soaking up every nice day I can, whether it's hanging outside, flying a drone, visiting cookouts. I'm going to do it all. So I'm very excited about this summer. We need to enjoy it while we can. Amen.
Yeah,
so look here, fellas. We are racking up the shows here. This has been going on for quite a while. If you think about it, for those of us who are new to the show, first of all, we want to say welcome. We are the guys from Reality Football. Now we are getting close to a full football season, of reality football, I would say. That averages about 17, 18 shows. And we're almost there now. What, about show 14 or something like that here?
I think so. 14, 15.
The show is going great. The likes are increasing. The listeners are increasing. And we're really excited. This is a show about everyday life. We cover main subjects as world news, sports, music, and pop culture through the eyes of Generation X. We also look at the dichotomy between Generation X and millennials and so forth, and Generation Z. We make fun of them, we make fun of ourselves, and we certainly make fun of each other. And we hope you enjoy the show. We hope you learn something along the way. I certainly do every single week. First of all, I want to pass the baton to my man, Brian Fisher, who is our social media guru, and he's going to tell you where you can find our show.
Thanks, Keith. So you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, at 7 p.m. sharp to 8 p.m. Eastern. You might be listening to us on a podcast whenever you want to. You can be found on all major podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also ask your home assistant device to play the It Came From GenX podcast, and our lovely voices will be heard throughout your home on your smart speaker. All show information is on Facebook at It Came From GenX, all one word. We do have a new Linktree account. All of our show links are there. Podcast links, Facebook links, email, the whole thing. Found an easier way to do this thanks to Nick from my other show, Convincing Idiots. Hi, Nick. Simply Google Linktree, Linkree, It Came From GenX, and our profile will pop right up for you. Pull it up. Again, all our links are right there. You can also find the same profile link on our Facebook page. Email the show at camefromgenx330@gmail.com. YouTube channel at camefromgenx. And we are on Instagram and camefrom_genx. And we also be found on Twitter and TikTok. Just look for It Came From GenX, and you'll find us. Look for our logo, rubber duck with a laser shooting out of its eyes. And that will be us. Like us, share us, rate us. Somebody you think would like the show, share it, tell a friend. We appreciate that. That's how we grow a little bit. And as you said, Keith, our page did grow over the last few weeks, well over a couple hundred people, something like that. So
it's going to grow again this week. So
hopefully.
You can also find us on most of your local restroom stalls.
Yep.
Just go in there and look. Usually up one there somewhere. So
you might find Keith's number from 1998 in there somewhere. Various bars throughout. The number may or may not work still. Not sure, but give it a shot. It might. You never know.
Oh, that's scary. I got the same number from that time frame.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Look for Skinner's number. Forget mine. So anyway, before we move on, thanks a lot, Fish, for doing that. I want to throw a little bit of love out real quick. First of all, I want to throw some love to our dynamic producer, Michael Skinner Jr. He is the son of our co-host Mike Skinner, who has been doing this show from day one. And to say he's been doing a phenomenal job is an understatement. I don't know if he has the time, but if you're looking for someone to do some serious production work for you, look him up. Contact us. We can hook you up with him. He is in Washington right now, and he does the show.
About 6 more weeks.
6 more weeks, and he does the show from there. So just let you know the power, not only of Michael, but the power of technology. He doesn't have to be here with us to do a phenomenal job on this show, and we always want to acknowledge him and thank him. Also, we don't give enough love to the man who we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him. So I want to give a little bit of love to Gustavus Dominic, outstanding DJ at WMVU.org. He is the reason we are here. And we just want to say thanks a lot to him. And check out WMBU, see what they're doing on their it's an awesome station, Radio Free Network. All right. With that being said, what you drinking there, bud?
I got some nice apple juice here in the mug.
Okay, good.
Getting the antioxidants.
Watch your sugar content, though.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, just checking with you. Now, guys, crazy week. A lot of things are going on. Kind of hard to narrow in on some of the stuff. Could have made a story out of a lot of things. Especially, I know Mike, world news. There's so much going on right now. You got the Middle East. You got this volcano stuff. You got big news that kind of divvies into my area of sports a little bit. I know you're going to cover.
I do.
Yeah.
And for those that are listening to us and can't see us, I'm paying homage today with the Titleist hat and my Avengers.
Yeah, excellent.
Dad,
if you can see Avengers shirt.
Dad, I love you 3000. It's the
awesome
Father's Day shirt from.
And don't explain what that means. If you don't know, you just don't know.
Right.
You got to watch the movie.
But this was Father's Day present from the kids a couple years ago.
That's
so
awesome.
Awesome. 2 reasons I wear it proudly. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you got some great kids. They're all my girls. I love them dearly. They all call me Uncle Keith. Some of them harass me to no end, but that's okay. I'll get them. But they're good kids. That's awesome. Nice shirt. Now, Fish.
Thanks.
My man, you are rocking a classic. Yours goes way back, buddy. Way back. One of my favorite shows. Tell them what you're rocking, man.
I'm wearing a Thundar the Barbarian shirt today, if you're not watching us on YouTube. So, yeah, one of my favorite cartoons growing up, for sure. Only on for 2 seasons. It seems like it was longer, but it was only a couple of seasons. I bought the box set on Amazon for like $25. So if you like the show, pick it up as like a 4-disc set. Great stuff. Early 80s. And just a great program. The world ended in that show
I was just
in
gonna
1994.
Say that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Just a very interesting premise
I was going to say, it's so weird. You seem like recently we've had all these post-apocalyptic shows and movies, 2012, The Day After Tomorrow, Deep Impact, all these different things. But actually, it started even further back then. And that show was one of the first ones, that cartoon. World War III has happened. The world is reemerging. You got all sorts of different creatures and tribes and whatnot. And it was kind of scary for a kid. Yeah.
A comet came too close to the Earth kind of threw off the rotation and cracked the moon, and it kind of just threw off. So it was like a whole torrent of climate and natural disasters wiped out the
lunar cycle
Earth.
Was thrown off.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, like you say, creatures and everything else rose from and they have all like the old ruins of like New York City and all these cities they go to, which is kind of an interesting dynamic. So, yeah, just a very interesting, well-written show.
Yeah, Ookla was kind of like Chewbacca a little bit.
Sure.
And Ariel was the sorceress.
The Sun Sword, which is like the lightsaber sort of.
She was pretty hot for a cartoon.
Sure.
And the Sun Sword, we still don't ever know where he got that from. So, that was a la your lightsaber, your whatever. Undercats and all that type stuff. So, yeah, great show, man. Awesome hat, too. Rocking the Cleveland Indians classic there. But I am wearing, this is the cast from Blackish. No, I'm just kidding. I got the all black T-shirt on today, but I am wearing my special God Gives Hope cap. I like wearing this cap, stir up conversation when I get out in public. A lot of people need a little bit of hope, and sometimes they need to read that. And if it sparks a conversation and I can offer somebody some words of hope, that's what I like doing when I'm out in public. So very proud of this hat. Thought I'd wear it on the show today. All right.
Very cool.
Very
guys,
cool.
You guys ready to do a show?
Yeah,
all right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Skin and bone. Let's start with some world news, brother.
World news it is. My first story is the folks over there in the Democratic Republic of Congo near the city of Goma. Mount Nyiragongo is in the Eastern Democratic Republic. On Saturday erupted, and it's caused all kinds of havoc. Not as bad as in 2002 when the last time it erupted, it killed 250 people. Destroyed 600 homes and 5 schools flattened. But this time around, they've only killed so far 11. But the biggest thing that's going on, and I pray for peace and I pray for recovery for these guys. There's 180 kids missing, and about 150 of them are displaced from their families. So that's 350 kids away from their families, either missing or they have been found, but they're displaced from their families, and they're trying to from a volcano eruption. The city of Goma is right at the bottom of it. And on Saturday, when it erupted, Sunday morning, the lava just wreaked havoc. It spared the big city of the city itself of Goma. But I was reading up on it. I first heard about it last night. Once again, Marcy's finding one of my stories for the week, like she did with the tainted meat subject last week. But this week, she told me about the volcano, and I'm like, you know what, that's a good one. And I'll let you guys what you guys know about this particular story. But this brings me back to Mount St. Helens. Back in the 80s when we were growing up as kids, Mount St. Helens erupted, and that was a devastating volcano. And I still remember when that blew up when we were very young, or young teens. So I thought this was a good Gen X story to relate back to when we were kids. So I know what I felt like when that volcano erupted, and I wasn't even anywhere near that. I can only imagine what these kids in Congo right now trying to find their families, or those 180 that are permanently missing right now, can only imagine what they're going through.
Wow. We certainly pray for them. Go ahead, Fish.
I was going to say, did they say that the changing climate has any impact on the volcano activity, or not sure?
No, they're not sure to this point. I did try to find out if there was a reason why it just, out of the blue erupted after 19 years. But there's no scientific evidence yet as to what's caused it.
And we still don't have any scientific way to determine that a volcano is going to erupt anytime soon.
They haven't pinpointed. Actually, I don't know if it's the same one. I don't think so, but I can't remember which one they were watching. But on 60 Minutes this past Sunday, they were observing a volcano somewhere, and it was like, and the scientists.
I was just going to say I was watching something recently.
That might have been
last night, and they were cooking hot dogs over the lava and marshmallows and stuff. Was that the same show?
It might have been the same one, because they celebrate this particular volcano. But they did talk about the scientific predictions of volcanoes, and they're just not really that accurate yet
not
at all.
Pinpoint science at all. Okay, well, I was watching something. I was just going to say last night, and they were having a ball with these cracks and the lava spewing up. They were cooking hot dogs. They were roasting marshmallows. 2 words came to my mind when I saw that: white people. But it was
crazy asses comes to mind.
It's funny how you can see something like that, but then hear a story like Skinner just told us with such disaster. The kids missing. Very, very, very sad. So we hope they find their loved ones and families and get away from that.
Absolutely.
What else you got, my brother?
By the way, that one was in Iceland, Keith. So for 60 Minutes. So
in Mount St. Helens, that was a huge deal when we were growing up. I don't remember the details of that, but I remember that was such a huge deal.
Yeah, that was something. I don't know that it had any, I don't know if it killed anybody or not. I don't remember that part of it, but I know it's
Yeah, I remember the
definitely, it
fact.
really did coat that town with ash and everything like that. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So
from what I remember, that they found ash that they could equate all the way towards Denver, Colorado,
yeah, that was something.
into the middle part of the country. You know, dead middle of the country. That it got up in the jet stream, and they found that ash all over the place. So yeah,
Wow.
that was the big one. So
I guess it's going to be a similar effect when Keith is finally able to get his colonic.
It's colonic.
It'll have a similar reaction. You might hear that in Akron somewhere.
Ain't nobody gonna be roasting hot dogs on that, buddy. I promise.
No.
No.
Wow.
That's going to be the shot heard around the world.
I thought I had lubed on. I was so excited. Oh, man.
You're
Thanks
never
a
going
lot,
to live
Fish.
that one down.
Yep.
Grow up.
All right.
All right. So here's my second story. This hits home for me. It's one of my favorite sports. As a kid from 10, 11 years old, I always went on one particular Saturday, Sunday afternoon in August to Firestone Country Club here in good old Akron, Ohio. And I would walk the north course or the south course at Firestone and watch the players chasing that white golf ball around. When I was younger, didn't really understand too much of the game, but as I got older and as I started doing it every single year with my father, it became a very special time for me. And back in 1991, Phil Mickelson at the time was a 19-year-old kid, won his first PGA tournament as a amateur. He then turned around and he has had an amazing career. He's one of my favorite golfers. It's a person I look up to, and the man's a year older than me. He's 50 years, 11 months, and 7 days. He won the PGA Tour yesterday by the PGA Championship. He's the oldest individual in the history of golf to win a PGA golf tournament, a major tournament. There's 5 major tournaments a year. The last individual, the oldest individual, his name was Julius Burrows. He won the 1968 PGA Championship at 48 years, 4 months, and 18 days. Phil Mickelson, 50 years, 11 months, and 7 days. So almost his 51st birthday. Showed the young bucks how to play golf yesterday, and he had an incredible week.
Okay.
I know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
I just want to say, first of all, congratulations to Phil Mickelson. That's an extraordinary accomplishment. I know you don't see a lot of golfers do this. The body changes. The control isn't there. Now, what I know about golf can fill a thimble. I want to start off by saying that. I defer to you, our expert on that. But I have followed the game a little bit over the years. And I hate to say this, but he's been one of my least favorite players. And the reason being, I just hold on. I don't want to say least favorite, but he struck me as a guy who's had all this talent, but he never really had the confidence. I just thought if he had a little more bravado and confidence to him, he could have done a lot more over his career. He's had a great career, but he just always kind of struck me as weak. I'm truly happy that he did what he did yesterday. This has to be very, very validating for him. And it reminds me of the baby boomers when George Foreman won the world title again around the same age, which was one of the most extraordinary feats I ever saw. So very, very happy for Phil Mickelson. That's all I can say about it. Fish?
Yeah, me too. I mean, and the guy over the years too. I mean, he had put on some weight when he was younger, and he had to make some decisions, and he lost weight. And the pictures of him, I didn't watch any of it. All right, but he looked in great shape. So he looks like he'd been working hard to get his body in a place to where, I mean, think about poor Tiger Woods. I mean, the guy's super talented, but the poor guy just can't keep, obviously the accident, but prior to that, his back just gave up on him. And
that's what
it's
happened
too bad.
to his back.
Maybe. But you know what? But on that note, though, too, I mean, Phil Mickelson, here's a guy that always been a quintessential family man. You don't hear any weirdness out of him.
No,
And
not at all.
this is years ago. I had some tickets to go see some of the Firestone tournaments. Okay, so it was a couple of years I went there, like when Tiger Woods first started, and I got to follow him around. It was pretty cool. But I just recall a moment just kind of glancing out in the parking lot and seeing Phil Mickelson trying to get to his car, and I just kind of watched him for a few minutes, and everybody that came up to him on the way to his car, he signed anything that they had.
He's always like a classy guy.
This is years ago.
Classy guy.
And not every guy was doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So every guy that walked up to him, I must have watched it. I just happened to catch it. I just observed him for a few minutes, and that kind of stuck with me as well. So that showed that he's doing that stuff when no one's watching.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a great point, because his reputation has always been beyond reproach. He's been in the game a long time, as Skinner pointed out, and you've never heard anything negative about the guy. So much respect for that.
Yeah, now, I don't know if you guys knew about this. Well, you're talking about his transformation, because he was put on a lot of weight there about 10, 15 years ago, and it hurt his game. Like you said, he has the talent coming from the left side. He's able to do things that right-handers can't do just as well. But the man has suffered from rheumatoid arthritis almost his entire life.
Wow,
to the point that at times it's debilitating for him. So
that makes it more amazing.
So you kind of get that backstory to see where he's come from and where he's at today. He's absolutely, again, he's my idol. I've known him since not personally, but I've been watching him since '91. So
maybe
to know
my assessment's been wrong of him then, maybe, because I didn't know about
no. I'm not saying that your assessment's wrong.
I'm saying it.
Yeah,
I didn't know about the arthritis. I just saw guys who had this, like Chichi Rodriguez. He's not maybe a household name, but man, this guy, you talk about confidence. Right, he went out there in the boldness and the bravado, and I wanted Phil to be like that when he was out there, and he was very kind of passive aggressive. So
he's a very laid back, calm guy, like you said, passive aggressive. He's just one of those guys you got to look out for, but he doesn't have a loud voice.
Well, good for him, man. Good for GenXers. Hey, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said last night when I was watching it, I'm like, man, look at this GenXer. He's making us all proud, kicking these young whippersnappers that are out there in the golf course. Yeah, pretty cool. But that's what I got, fellas.
Excellent stuff, man. Excellent. All right.
Well, hey, you young whippersnappers.
You whippersnappers.
Keep your giant king cobra clubs out of my yard.
And as Porter would say, kids, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. All right. Hey, how about a little pop culture? What's going on, Fish?
Yeah, thank you. So we did have an unfortunate passing this past Wednesday. Comedian.
What?
Yes.
Hold on a minute. I think we need to add a new segment to the show, obituaries.
I was just going to say that too.
Serious.
You beat me to it.
We seem to have some passings every week, so maybe we ought to think about that. Go ahead, buddy.
Unfortunately, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's just where we are.
Part of life.
Yeah. So comedian, actor, and writer Paul Mooney passed away this past Wednesday, 79 years of age. Poor man suffered a heart attack. If you don't know the name, he was tied to Richard Pryor for a lot of Richard Pryor's career. So he served as head writer on the Richard Pryor show, which I don't remember that one, and co-wrote some of the Pryor's material on several of his comedy albums and his Saturday Night Live sketches, which were, if you watch some of those in the 70s, very, very good stuff. Go back and watch some of those on YouTube. He also wrote for Sanford and Son, obviously great comedy show that we all grew up with, watching reruns. Good greatest. Times in Just Living Color. Yep. Sanford and Son?
Yeah.
Yeah. In Living Color, Pryor's Place, The Larry Sanders Show, Chappelle's Show, and BET's reality parody show, Real Husbands of Hollywood. So, certainly in the comedy world, very iconic figure. So rest in peace, Paul Mooney. Keith, now you mentioned off camera, you're familiar with Paul Mooney.
I am Very familiar with Paul Mooney. Have been for 30 years or so. I have I don't know how to put this, but my feelings are kind of varied with Paul Mooney. Unbelievable talent. Um, I would compare him to in the music world of a Pharrell. He's been around forever, and he's wrote hits for everybody. Every now and then he do something for himself. Pharrell came out with the song "Happy," and everybody thought, "Oh, this is this new artist." No, Pharrell's been around forever, writing hits for everybody else. Every now and then he'd make a record for himself and get a hit. Paul Mooney's been doing this for a long, long time, writing for other shows. But every now and then he'll have a little special, or he'll appear somewhere. Very, very funny guy. I used to be a huge fan when I first discovered Paul Mooney, and then as I grew up, you guys know the history of my life. I started to resent him because he reminded me of some of the black people that I had to encounter growing up, telling me how I should be. One of the biggest controversies Paul Mooney ever had, and for lack of decorum, I'm going to use the word ninja, and I think we all know what word I'm substituting that for. But he had a famous skit, one of the most controversial moments in his life, and the skit was called "Ninja Wake Up," and the whole skit was basically him accusing certain black celebrities of denying their blackness, if you will, if there's such a thing, for the sake of success. Michael Jackson, Oprah Winfrey, Diana Ross, things of that nature, which I found to be the most stupid and ludicrous comment I ever. First of all, you are who you are, and I don't know what blackness is supposed to mean. You got to talk a certain way, you got to act a certain way, and normally when you talk about blackness, when people make stupid terms like that, it's inviting the ignorant, in my opinion. I've been accused of things like that. I'm talking on the phone, well, you don't sound black. What are you saying? Because I'm not saying this, that, and them. Stupid things like that. And I hate that stigma being put on black people. So kind of didn't like Paul Mooney for a long time because he felt like, you're supposed to be a certain way if you're black. He also was famous for using the word ninja in a lot of his routines. He used to say that he'll never stop saying it. One of his famous quotes was, "I'm gonna say the word ninja, ninja, ninja till it make my teeth white." And of course, he stopped saying the word in 2006. And you know who made him stop saying the word? Michael Richardson from Seinfeld fame. After the blow up he had on stage.
Imagine that.
Yes. After that blow up, Paul Mooney said, "He's my Dr. Phil. Because of that, I'm never going to say the word again." So a little bit of news for you there on that.
Wow, very good. Well, rest in peace. Definitely again an icon in
funny
the
man,
comedy
funny
world.
Man though.
Yeah, absolutely. And this happened recently. This was on the 22nd of April. This movie turned 20 years of age. The original Shrek movie.
Oh, the Mike Skinner biography.
Yeah. Child number one or two or three, I can't remember. It would have been that there. No, but April 22nd, 2001, Shrek debuted. I think it was a DreamWorks. Is it DreamWorks?
DreamWorks, yeah.
Was it DreamWorks movie? Okay. Yep. Yeah, and just obviously became a huge hit. Has two different sequels since, and other spin-offs, holiday shows, whatnot. But so for me, my daughter was born in 20. I'm say 2020. Geez, I almost said 2020. She was born in 2000. Excuse me. So when this movie came out on DVD, we picked this up, and this is one that she grew up with. One of her favorite movies. She went as Shrek one year, even in high school, at Halloween time. She's just a big Shrek fan. But iconic movie, great cast. Eddie Murphy, Michael Myers, Cameron Diaz, John Lithgow, and just a host of characters. And then they did a clever thing. They incorporated, some hit songs into the movie at the time, made some songs certainly much more. I guarantee there were some artists back then that were very thankful for Shrek because it took their music, took those singles to another level.
Oh, absolutely.
And that movie had, we've all seen it, I know, but it had adult theme content in there as well. So it was one of the earlier movies where you could take your kid to go see it, and they, so the producer or somebody involved and was recanting a story. They were out somewhere and they weren't sure if it was going to be a hit movie or not. And they were somewhere public and they overheard people talking about the movie. And somebody said, "Hey, you got to go see Shrek." And their friend said, "Nah, it's a kid's movie." And the other one said, "No, it's not for kids. It's for adults." And they said that person was just like, "Ooh, oh, wow. So we really have something, special here." And, so anyway, great movie. Skinner, Shrek, you've seen the movie. What's your take on Shrek?
Yeah, and that was kid number 3 was born at that year. Madison hadn't quite been born yet. She was born in September of 2001, so I only had 3 at the time.
These days,
let's
3
get that straight. Well, yeah. Anyway, Shrek to me, one of my favorite kid movies of all time. The story, well written. The acting, voiceovers was incredible. The group of cast that you rang off there, they were fantastic, and they fit the characters. They gelled as actresses on the same screen, and the music was good. I made a comment off camera that Smash Mouth should be thankful, you said, thankful for their one and done song, because they didn't really do much after that. Didn't have to. That song, All Star, was a huge hit, and it came directly from that movie. It's I've seen millions of kid movies. Obviously, having the gang that I have, that ranks up there with me. Lion King is my favorite to this day. Lion King's number 1. Shrek is a close second.
Okay,
Keith, Shrek.
Just a couple thoughts I want to say about the movie, and Skinner kind of alluded to it. Just hit a home run with casting, even in an animated movie, and this is one that just boom nailed it. I mean, Eddie Murphy is the donkey. It just nailed it with the voices. Mike Myers is Shrek. So I think that was the most important thing that made that movie so big. You could have got some great voices, but these were all familiar superstar voices. And I think that's what made the movie such a hit. The other thing I want to say, this is one of my favorites. It's not a Shrek story per se, but if you want a good laugh, one of my favorite shows is NBA on TNT. Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith. You want to laugh, go on YouTube and look up the clip where Charles Barkley is telling the story of how being at a restaurant and some waitress who didn't know crap about basketball but knew he was famous, they thought he was Michael Jordan or somebody, or Michael Magic Johnson or something, and got him paid for his dinner or whatnot. And Shaq made the comment, "Yeah, I get mistaken a lot too in places." And Barkley said, "For who? Shrek?" Man, I never seen Shaq so mad.
That's funny.
The cast laughed for 10 minutes. They couldn't stop laughing. But if you want a good laugh, go on YouTube and watch that clip.
That's good. Yeah, great movie. And at the time, I think it helped resurrect Eddie Murphy's career, if I'm not mistaken, back then. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, go back and watch Shrek again. Matter of fact, that might be a summertime backyard movie this season. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, so the SNL season finale happened on Saturday. Are you guys do you watch Saturday Night Live still, or is that lost interest over time?
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of longtime cast members are, hinting that, Cecily Strong and Pete, I can't think of his name right now. Sorry. Pete Davidson. Yeah. They've hinted that they might be leaving the show and everything like that. But Chris Rock made an appearance on there. I'm just going to read a quote here from him. It's actually pretty funny. So he's like, this is Chris Rock. "I hosted the first episode of this season, and that feels like 6 years ago. I wanted Kanye West to be the musical guest, and he couldn't do it because he was running for president," which is that actually happened. "And the sitting president, who said COVID would disappear, got COVID. That was all in the same season of SNL. And earlier on, they also did a couple episodes where they were all at home, and they shot some skits literally in their own homes and brought things together. So one of the strangest seasons of SNL history. They all got back together. It was actually a pretty good episode. And go back and check it out if you haven't watched it lately. One of the funniest things is two of the head writers, Michael Che and Colin Yost, and Colin Yost is now married to Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, who he met on the show. Yeah,
but he's married to the Black Widow. Say it right.
That's right. That's right. But they do a bit on the news where they write jokes for each other. They do it like in the holidays and the special events. They did it this past weekend. So neither one of them has seen the joke until bam, right there on live television. Whatever they put up there, they have to read whatever it is the other person puts up there.
Okay.
Pretty hilarious stuff. Yeah, they made some jokes about so Michael Che made Colin Yost joke about the Black Superman, for example.
Oh, okay.
So he has to read some pretty racist commentary and stuff like that. It was like, kind
of like the game we played over at Cooper's house.
Exactly. So
messing with Marcy.
Go back and check it out. Pretty good stuff there. So the SNL finale. And then the last thing I had was the Army of the Dead movie started streaming on Netflix. Dave Bautista and a few other people. It was released in the theater the prior week. It was the number one streaming on Netflix over the weekend. Allie and I enjoyed that movie sitting on the front porch on Saturday. Did you see it? Are you interested? Army of the Dead. Keith, have you seen it? Are you planning to watch it?
Haven't seen it. Not planning to watch it. For some reason, that whole zombie thing just has never appeared to me. I thought World War Z was a phenomenal film. That was crazy. It just doesn't appeal to me. I don't know why. If I watch it and see it, it's cool, but I don't go out of my way to watch it. Saturday Night Live, though. I don't know why. It's like I used to watch it religiously growing up, and now it's just kind of worn thin with me. Horrible music artists, and some of the skits have just seemed like, I don't know. I don't know if it's a Gen X thing or what. Just doesn't appeal to me as much. I've always enjoyed the news. I thought that's always been one of the best running things ever.
Yep.
I was a part of a comedy team that used to mimic that. Something I'd like to do again one day with either you guys or whoever. But you can have a lot of fun with that, making up news stories. But other than that, just hasn't been a fan in a long, long time. The talent on there, they're funny, but there's not that special person, Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy. You haven't seen one of those in a long time.
There's some good people on there that's definitely going to make something. Kenan Thompson's there. He's been on there for a long time.
Very long time.
Yeah,
I think Kate plateaued though.
Yeah, I don't know. He's got a new show that's pretty decent with Don John. I don't know, but yeah, but you're right. It is
Kate McKinnon. I love Kate McKinnon. I love
Kate
her.
McKinnon is terrific.
She's one of my favorites. Yeah, I love her.
Yeah. But you're right. It doesn't have that same feel necessarily as like even the 80s or even the 90s cast at the time. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't know. I still watch it religiously.
Okay,
I just can't help it. But,
I ain't gonna lie now. On Hulu, I'll watch old episodes a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I can't even pinpoint when the cancel culture started, as quote unquote the cancel culture people, when they stopped being able to do what they wanted to do because everybody else was offended. That's when I I stopped watching it, because the skits become thin.
You can't do the cork soaker skit anymore. No.
So yeah, right. I remember that one. So when I hear on Sunday or Monday that they say, "Oh, this show this past weekend was phenomenal," I'll go back and watch, to see what they're talking about, so I don't miss on that. But I haven't seen a Saturday Night Live show on Saturday night in probably 15 years, to be truthful.
Yeah, exactly.
but I love the premise. It's obviously been a great premise of a show for going on 50. What they're going to be hitting 50 years at some point here soon, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's got to be
up.
getting there soon. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Kudos to them to stand the test of time to be able to continue to do this.
And I think they'll have a resurgence at some time.
I think so. When people stop being offended for the fact that they want to be offended, yeah, it will make a resurgence. And I hope it does.
I'm telling you, go back and watch the news clip. Just if you see nothing else,
okay.
Watch the news from this past weekend. The jokes that they make each other do is pretty good. I mean, I was laughing as loud as I've laughed in a long time.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch that then.
Because they were there's no boundaries. So now that it's become a game with those two is who can make the other say something very racist and degrading.
They're the longest lasting duo on the newscast too, if I'm not mistaken.
It might be up there. It'd be interesting to look that up. So anyway, all right. So anyways, Army of the Dead.
You're talking about Army of the Dead. I forgot that came out this weekend. I'm a big Dave Bautista fan. Mm-hmm. Not a great actor, but I love the roles that he's played.
I do too, for good reason.
He was a wrestler from WWE. Didn't do very well. He wasn't well liked, from what I understand, from fellow wrestlers. And for the fans, they just didn't care for him. So he's like, well, screw you guys. I'll go into Hollywood. And he's done pretty well. He's done very well. So that leads me to his Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Is this his last one?
I think it is. I think they're going to recast the character, I believe, is what they were saying after he does Drax one more time.
I really hope they don't. I don't know that anybody's going to be able to pull that off like he has.
I do like him, too, in movies, Skinner. I don't know. Did you see the one where he's a father and he takes his daughter to the soccer game? Yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of going along the lines. I'm sorry, Fish. I know I just cut you off again. I apologize.
Okay, sorry.
He's kind of going along the lines that The Rock did. He did his movies, and then he went and did that one movie with his long lost daughter that showed up. He was a football player.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the name of that movie was. And then he's done everything since then. So I think he's going to take off if he does get away from.
He got a long way to catch up to The Rock, though. Him and John Cena. Right. I mean, who would ever thought that this wrestler would be the highest paid actor in Hollywood? Yep. Amazing.
Anyway, so yeah, if you like him, check it out. It's more of a action movie with zombies in it than it is a zombie movie, if you will. So it's worth a stream. Check it out sometime. Yep. Okay, so Keith, we're going to move it to you for music and sports and your feature story. We've got about 20 minutes.
Okay,
sir.
Guys. Yep. All right, well, let's start off with the feature story today.
Yep.
My feature story pivots off of a current news story. Julio Jones, future Hall of Famer without question, wide out for the Atlanta Falcons. And I was excited to talk a little football today because, we had the draft. Other than that, we haven't had much football because it's the off season. So excited to talk a little football today. But Julio Jones, who you thought was going to end his career in Atlanta, is demanding a trade. From the article I read today, he's forced the Atlanta Falcons' hand. The trade is inevitable. Really, Atlanta Falcons would have had probably the most dynamic wide receiver room in all of football. Man, they had four horses, a couple of guys from Alabama. Now with Julio leaving, that kind of lessens that a little bit. But it got me to start thinking about how players have become more and more empowered to determine trades, determine where they're going to land, especially in the NBA. The NBA players certainly have way more power than the NFL. And it's the nature of the beast. It's a smaller team. You got 11 guys versus 11 on the side, NFL plus backups. Also, the NBA is about the name on the back of the jersey. The NFL is about the name on the front of the jersey. And, of course, in the NBA, you see the faces where the NFL guys wear helmets so they don't become a personality unto themselves. So NBA guys, especially if you're a superstar, you have much more power. But it got me to thinking, guys, we grew up in the era where, a guy who were on a football team, He was there almost his entire career, if not his entire career. We saw legends try to get another paycheck at the end of their career and go to different teams. One of my biggest heartbreak, Franco Harris in a Seattle Seahawks uniform. That was just pathetic.
That's
You know,
strange,
his legs had given up 2 years prior to that. I
Yeah.
don't know what Seattle was thinking. They draw tickets or whatever, but that
Sure.
was just a waste of space. And then we've seen some guys, almost pull it off again. We've seen the magic of one of my favorite player of all time from the 49ers, Joe Montana, go with the Kansas City Chiefs, ended up in an AFC title game.
Yeah.
And of course, Tom Brady is the exception to all the rules. But there's just something about a player that spends their entire career with their same football team or whatever sports team, and it means something to you and each of us in different ways. And I thought we could talk about some of your favorite players that spent their entire career with one team and why. Skinner?
Skinner, you're still on mute, brother.
Yeah, I was coughing my head off and didn't want to do that in you guys' ear. I forgot to put it back on. We talked about this part, in
You
our
know what?
production.
Actually, I think you're better on mute.
I thought you said better too. Hit that again. No.
Yeah, I was looking for a hole so I don't do this, keep this coughing, but
I was going to say, shut up, bitch. Sleep alone. See how long he would talk before you realized it.
I probably would have been going
head.
for a good minute or two without knowing that.
Yeah,
But,
we could dub in something more entertaining.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Next time.
Yeah,
But no, when
Mike
we were-
Skinner Jr. Go ahead, Mike. What are you going to say?
We're off camera and we're preparing for the show to give us a heads up. 3 names came to mind for me, and it was all in the game of baseball.
Mhm.
Tony Gwynn from the Padres, San Diego Padres, played his entire career there.
Yep.
Kirby Puckett with the Minnesota Twins during the same time frame. He was with Minnesota his entire career. And Derek Jeter, even though I'm not a Yankee fan, I'm a Yankee hater, but I have nothing but the utmost respect for Derek Jeter and what he did for
He was the Yankees,
for baseball. He was the face of the Yankees after so many years of them not being able to buy their championships. And I saw the scorecard on him from the scouts that he was a below average player who had average heart, and there was no way he was going to make it in baseball. And boy, I'd like to know, they bleeped out or they blacked out the name of the scout that actually wrote this particular thing, and I would love to know who this guy is and how much crow he ate.
Remind me of a
Derek
6th-round
Jeter
pick by the name of Tom Brady.
Right. Yeah. When he retired, and he's the first Hall of Famer without question. I'd love to know who that scout was, but no, you just don't see players staying more than a contract with one team. Not along, maybe 2 contracts or 3 or a career. I don't know that we'll ever see another one like Derek Jeter again. I hope we do.
Right.
You've got.
Now you're talking about baseball or just across the board?
I'm talking about sports in general.
Okay.
I don't remember the last football player other than those that got cut off short from injury. But what superstar has stayed with the same team his entire career?
Okay.
And didn't play.
Let me give you this list here real quick.
Okay, good. I'm glad you have one.
Yeah, let me give you a list of current players right now who are past the 15-year mark. Larry Fitzgerald. Hopefully he'll retire.
I forgot about him. Yes.
He'll retire with the Arizona Cardinals. 17 years. Ben Roethlisberger, 17 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Of course, I wouldn't know him.
And the one that's looking iffy, but Aaron Rodgers, 16 years with the Green Bay Packers. So we have some that are going towards the 20-year mark with the same football team.
Well, those first 2 will definitely make it on that list of one team. I don't see either one of those guys going anywhere else.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, that whole story, we can probably spend a whole show on that one.
And we'll monitor that closely,
Yeah, that's going to be ugly when that gets done. But no, I'm glad you brought that up because I don't want to take any more time. But I wish more players had loyalty to their fans, to the city that brought them up, to their owners that pay their paychecks. You just don't see it anymore, and it's a shame.
Anymore. Yep. Fish.
Well, at the same token, these guys got to make money somehow, so they can get a payday and go play another year or two somewhere else. So they're going to do. It was weird seeing on the same vein as Franco Harris. Emmitt Smith in a freaking Cardinals uniform, Tony Dorsett in a Denver Broncos uniform.
Yeah.
It's like doesn't make sense. But if I'm them, they're giving me a shot. They're going to pay me.
I'm going to get another paycheck. Absolutely.
So just a couple come to mind for me. Back in the '80s, Dan Marino, the Dolphins, the great. If he'd was able to go somewhere else, perhaps he could have got a ring, or they would have, I don't know, stuck with the Dolphins all those years. You can name a lot of the guys in the '70s, Keith. Some of the great Steelers and Cowboys. Yeah, that's right. Bradshaw, Staubach. I mean, a lot of these guys, back in that day. Aikman for Dallas played his whole career. Michael Irvin, a lot of guys like that. And then basketball in the '80s. I almost said Michael Jordan, but no, they actually forget he came back and played for the Wizards. But so the big two that come to mind for me, Magic and Bird. Magic and Bird are two players that represent to this day the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. They did not move around. They did not leave to go get a ring somewhere. The ownership at the time brought in talent around those guys. Not many guys around them stayed there. There was not many guys with them that stayed their entire career with them. But a lot of them did for many years, and they built those championships up there. So those two guys for me, probably my top two is Magic and Bird.
Okay, with, great choice.
Boston and LA. Go ahead. What do you got, Keith?
Great choice. I want to make a point. Now, Michael Jordan would be the outlier because he is such a huge worldwide icon.
Mm-hmm.
He gets away with going to the Wizards. You don't hear a lot of talk about that. So, that being said, I look back on the teams that I love and the players that I love and the quote unquote dynasties, even if you will, and you alluded to this. And the difference to me between the millennial dynasties of today, like New England Patriots, the reason why, in my opinion, the New England Patriots don't compare to your 90s Cowboys, to your 80s 49ers, to your 70s Steelers is because the simple fact, when you think of the New England Patriots, you think of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Other than that, the surrounding cast changed every year. 1 year Cliff Branch is the main receiver. The next year, Randy Moss is the main. 1 year, Corey Dillon's the main running back. The next year, you know what I'm saying? It just went on and on and on. The surrounding cast changed completely with them. So you don't have that dynasty feel about them because who was the dynasty? Two main guys. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you had your mainstays, Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Dallas Cowboys, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, a lot of those offensive line guys who were huge for their entire career. And, of course, in the 49ers, Joe Montana did go to another team. Wasn't his fault, but there was economics that did that. But, Jerry Rice and some of these other guys. So it's different when you see players stay their entire career versus a team that wins a lot but with different players. So that's why it's important to me. Right now, I hope Ben Roethlisberger finishes his career as Steeler. It's looking like it. And I think that will cement his legacy. I think there's a shine that takes off your legacy when you do that. LeBron James, our beloved LeBron James, we understand, we get it. But you know what? It just doesn't. Yeah, it's just different, man. It's just different. If that guy would have stayed in Cleveland his entire career, he could do no wrong in Northeast Ohio. I mean, he would have the key to the freaking city. You brought a championship. You brought excitement. The stands were full every night, and you did this for an entire career. I mean, they would have statues of him everywhere in Northeast Ohio, man. It would be ridiculous how beloved he would be in Northeast Ohio.
How many championships would he have if he would have stayed in Cleveland?
Exactly. Good Lord, you went every year recently. I mean,
we could debate.
Keep tweaking.
We could debate that. You could debate that because a lot of the big free agents did not want to come to
They
Cleveland.
didn't want to come to Cleveland. That's true. You did get past the hump one year. I think you could have done it again.
Yeah.
I think he could have got some people here for you to work on it more. I don't think he was trying to get players to come here as much as trying to get out of here. So
Could be.
you went 4 in a row, but of course you could argue how weak the East was too compared to the West, and that's a whole other conversation. So that's my feature story and music
That's
today.
good stuff.
Yeah, another music story that I've been following, and this is something we just don't like to hear about at all. Certainly, guys, we all grew up big metal fans. We talked about you guys are really like Megadeth. I'm not as big a fan, but we grew up listening to Megadeth, and long time basis, Dave Ellefson has been let go of the band after 2 weeks of investigation. Here at Heavy Metal Band, Megadeth has parted ways with bassist Dave Ellefson after he was accused of sexual misconduct. We are informing our fans that Ellefson is no longer playing with Megadeth. We're officially parting ways. We don't take this decision lightly. We don't know all the facts, but our relationship was already strained. We are looking forward to seeing our fans on the road to show our new music and blah 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 blah. Check us out on Twitter. Now the facts are a little shaky here of what he actually did. They say he was a grooming an underage girl through messages and videos online, and that is circulated on social media. He denied the allegations, saying that the clips were private, adult interactions that were taken out of context and manipulated to inflict maximum damage to my reputation, my career, and my family. Now, I'm not going to read all of this. It's sad when you hear stories like this for 2 reasons. One, it might be true, and 2, it might not be true. Because if there's true, then obviously, roast that sucker. But if they're not true, the damage that it does to a person's career, even if they're found innocent, oh, this was fake news, whatever, it's so hard to shake that stigma when you make an allegation like that. So I just hate hearing these stories all together. Megadeth fans, Fish?
Yeah, it's really a shame because the Megadeth's had some different lineup changes over the years, but the 2 names that it's Dave Mustaine and Dave Ellefson.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about one of the greatest heavy metal bass riffs of all time, Peace Sells,
without question.
Dave Ellefson, but you know exactly, if you're a heavy metal fan at all, you know exactly what that bass riff sounds like. It's super terrific. It's really a damn shame. I hope it's not true. And I hope if it's not true, he can get his career back on track and everything. Like you say, if it is true, then I wouldn't associate with him either if I was Megadeth because you got to do all you can do. But it's really a damn shame.
Same thing. You hit it on the head. The only 2 things that can happen: it's true or it's not true, and both of them are devastating in its own sense. If it's not true, he'll never shake the stigma. If it is true, you roast him, like you said. So,
and if he's not true, he's already been fired from the band.
Yep.
Yeah. So
they said immediately, we don't know all the facts. Well, you've already fired him. Just to
you can't bring him back now.
Yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just all bad all around.
Yeah. If I'm him, I ain't coming back if it's untrue, and he's acquitted and everything. Yeah, I'm not going back. Not after this.
Yep. All right, guys. This day in music, a couple of things happened. In 1975, one of my bands, one of the greatest bands, in my opinion, of all time. I make this argument of who's the greatest band of all time. People say the Beatles. I say if the Beatles can move and dance and play instruments like these guys, then I'll change my name. But Earth, Wind, and Fire. Debut had a #1 with Shining Star. This is one of the greatest groups ever. They switched singers with I can't think of his name offhand, but he did the big duet with Phil Collins. And I just think this group is certainly, I think they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already, if I'm not mistaken. But
I believe that's the case. Yeah.
Just a huge group. Earth, Wind, and Fire fans, Skinner?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Those guys were, you think of bands, I'm not a big 70s music buff, but yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire is definitely up there. Oh, they're one of the go-tos for sure.
Absolutely. Fish.
My mom. So my dad had rock and roll records. Mom had disco records around the house. So I listened to both. I'm a big fan to this day of 70s disco. I play 70s music all the time. Earth, Wind, and Fire, one of the best bands, period. My mom was such a big fan. So this is years ago. Took my mom and dad up to see them in Cleveland at the Nautica stage. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the greatest concerts I ever saw. Even then, this was like early, mid 2005, 2006 range, whatever it was. It was so much damn fun.
Yeah,
Super
they're a
talented
phenomenal
band.
group,
The
man.
whole crowd, I'm not even kidding, all ages. You could not sit. It was
Everybody was
impossible to
dancing
sit
and
down.
singing.
You
Yeah.
have to.
You
It's
have
impossible.
to. Have to.
And
They
that bass
just-
player dude,
Oh,
man,
he's my favorite. He's my favorite.
he had a remote bass, right? Running. I'm like,
I don't know how he does it.
Super energetic dude, running all up and down the steps.
He doesn't stand still for 1 second.
To this day, still the same way.
Phenomenal.
Super great fun.
Yeah.
Great band. Love it.
One of my favorites of all time. Also, guys, 1997. You guys are gonna love this one. Humbop. The band's Hanson.
Oh
boy,
the Hanson brothers.
You guys,
oh
do
my!
you remember that song? I wanted to shoot the TV every time it came on, and I saw these little cutesy boys bopping their little head. Hanson fans, Skinner.
My little wonderful daughter Brianna would have been 3.
No, Bree, tell me Bree, it ain't true.
No, she's 2, 3 years old, running around singing that damn song all over the place.
I can just see that.
When she was that age, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's one of those songs I'd love to forget, but hey, it is what it is.
Fish.
I have to remind you that story. The one time we were riding down Market Street, and I forget who the artist is, but the lyric is, "It's getting hot in here. Take off all my clothes."
That was Nelly.
Nelly, yeah. Another time, I'll tell you that story of my 5-year-old Brianna singing that song in the back of the car. But that's for another time.
Not a fan necessarily, but the song is catchy. I do give them credit.
Yes, it was very catchy. Not the most intense words, but hey, I give them credit for that. I've never been a big fan of the cutesy boy groups. This new Asian group, BTS, I find them utterly sickening. I want to smack them and say, "Be a man." Could try to look so cute. I just want to slap them. Oh my gosh, you just can't stand them. Anyway, also
money. Yep.
You better believe it. Also, this day in music, the group Spice Girls. Spice Girls did something that only been done by 2 other female groups in history, with their album being #1 on the charts multiple weeks. And those 2 groups are the Go-Go's and the Supremes. So you had your 70s, then your 80s, and then the Spice Girls in your 90s. Do you put the Spice Girls in the same category? I know we talked about the Go-Go's being Hall of Fame worthy last year. We know the Supremes are definitely high on the list, but do you put the Spice Girls in the same category as those other 2 groups? Fish?
No. Simple answer, no. I mean, talented in their own way. Don't get me wrong. Great. But, the Go-Go's, if I'm not mistaken, wrote their stuff. They obviously played their own instruments.
Yep.
And the Supremes, I know they wrote stuff as well. And then the singing talent at the Supremes is just an entirely different stratosphere.
That was a creation of a whole.
Absolutely. So you can't put them in the same category, in my opinion.
Nope, Skinner.
I got 4 words. No way in hell.
Sounds like you really feel. Okay. Yeah. I am going to have to say, I understand where Skinner's coming from. The Go-Go's, they played their own instruments. Anybody who does that has my respect, being a musician. And, of course, the Supremes, you're talking about Motown, the beginning of one of the greatest eras in the history of music, forming a sound, the things that they went through. I didn't like anything about the Spice Girls except Scary Spice to this day. Seeing her on America's Got Talent, I think she is just so hot. a black woman with a British accent. That's like putting hot sauce on your tea and biscuits, baby. I love it. But other than that, I don't like anything by them. So with that, guys, that is our show for today. Want to thank my co-host Brian Fisher and Michael Skinner. You want to take us out here, Skinner?
Yeah, sure. Hey, it's another great show. Looking forward to a long weekend coming up here with Memorial Day weekend. So those out there, stay safe, eat lots of food, and I would be remiss not to say, being a veteran of the United States Air Force, please reflect on why we get to celebrate what we're celebrating.
I want
Memorial
to say,
Days.
for Memorial Day, I want to say thank you to our own Michael Skinner for serving. We love you. We respect you, my brother. And I also want to say happy birthday to my girl, my baby, my mother turns 87 on Wednesday.
Absolutely.